On the island of Newfoundland, upon the southwest coast, lies the little town of Virgil, to whom I'll sing this toast. There are so many highlands that lie just off her shore, and when the cold north wind blows, you can hear the billows roar. The people from the village make their living from the sea. They like their independence. It shows that they are free. Some fish in their small boats in the wind, the rain and sleet, while others make their living on the offshore trawler fleet. They've known their share of tragedies down through the years, and when the memories overcome, they show their grief with tears. For they have lost some loved ones to the furies of the seas, for heartaches and heartbreaks are locked in memories. This village has got beauty carved on its rugged shore. 7 miles of pure white sand, who could ask for more? The mountains and the valleys where the rivers run so fast, and the salmon rise to the sportsman's fly as he makes another cast. Now the people of this village love their native home, for anyone who goes away most surely will return. Just like that lifelong mystery, the answer you won't know. What makes this rugged village burn so deeply in your soul? What makes this rugged village burn so deeply in your soul?
Good evening and welcome to This Week in Review. Tonight in our stories we have BBS hooking into the fiber optics, snow sculptures, winter frolics, town council report, BBS update. Please stay tuned for these stories after this. Try your luck and play TV bingo on Wednesday, sponsored by the Lioness Club. Cards are 6 for $5 and can be bought from any Lioness member or in most stores around town. A technician from Eastlink was out on Tuesday to start hooking up the fiber optic cable in the BBS building, which was already run a couple of Sundays ago. The main cable had to be spliced to other cable to hook it up to the equipment. The fiber optics had to be stripped and cleaned before splicing could begin. There are 12 different colors inside the main cable. Each strand was then stripped and cleaned. A special tool used to cut the fiber to make it square, and other tool was used to splice it. This tool is computerized, which shows the two ends of the fiber being joined. A protector was placed over the joint and heated to seal it. This was done with 6 strands. Once all the splicing was complete, the main wire was then tidied up and placed on a rack ready to hook up to various equipment. This splicing had to be done in the building located on Smalls Island as well. Once all the splicing is done, the fiber optic is ready to be lit and then testing on the system had to be performed. Once all is done, The internet will be switched from wireless to the fiber optics. With the recent snowfall and in the spirit of Akieville and the upcoming Winter Carnival, one resident, Mr. John Kobe, decided to make a snow sculpture of the NHL symbol and a hockey rink. To make the letters show up, he used food coloring on the letters and to put lines on the rink. He took some of the snow from the back of his yard and worked until the early morning hours. We would like to encourage other residents to support Burgeo for Akieville and to participate in the Winter Carnival in February. On Friday afternoon, the students from grade kindergarten to grade 6 were at the stadium enjoying some winter frolics. This was due in part to the grades not having access to the gym because of midterm exams. The children really seemed to enjoy their time skating and having a break from regular school activities. Mayor Jerome McDonald came by the studio with his town council report.
Good evening. Your council report for January the 19th. And I guess first of all I want to touch on is the water treatment plant. And on January the 9th, the council did have a meeting with Mr. David Fay, the contractor, Wayne Manuels, the engineer, and government officials here in Burgeo, and some serious discussion took place regarding the water treatment plant. What's been happening up there in terms of malfunctioning equipment, and I guess we're a year overdue. And lack of internet service, the contractor brought up as well in that area. But my understanding since that time, the internet service has been replaced to the water treatment plant. And his concern over that was while they were in St. John's, they couldn't monitor the plant. But that's been rectified. And up to this point in time, since our meeting, the plant has been working quite well. And let's knock on wood and let's hope it stays that way. We still ask the people to try and control their flow rate. If you don't have to run your water, please don't. We don't want to overrun the system and have to go back to dirty water, so it's entirely up to the people now if we continue to get clean water over the winter months. So once again, we ask for your cooperation in your water usage, and hopefully this system will take us through the winter, and we can certainly build on it next year, I guess, in terms of more installation to our water system. Water pipes in the ground and in people's basements and that stuff, so people won't have to run their water. So anyway, we'll hope for the best on that. The TIOW again this year, as you notice, I had a notice on BBS, I think it was around the 18th of December, I put a notice on, see what interest was in the community for a TIOW project. And I took names to the 8th of January, and I received 50 names of people that will be interested in working on such a project. So at the town office on the 12th of January, I believe it was, myself and town manager Blaine Marks and EAS officer Mr. Jerry Billard met with Deborah Jennings from College of North Atlantic and discussed the TIOW program for this year, 2011, and start to build a proposal. And there's what we've done this year in our proposal is we applied for walking trail, I think is 1.5 kilometers, and a parking lot in the area where you enter the walking trail. And the big one, I guess, this year was the playground. We felt that it's time to bring our playground up to standard and do some work in that area. Trying to improve on a lot of things in the area there, the fencing included. And that was where we focused our attention this year. Now, we did not apply for any knitting program this year because the TWIR project is not going to sponsor knitting this year. So it was a decision of the government not to have knitting, not us. And I just want the people to know that. So this year, what we're targeting is the walking trail and the playground. So the proposal has to be presented by the 15th. It's the deadline to submit the proposal to the government, and that will be done, and we'll wait and see what happens after that. You're all aware by now the speed limit has been reduced from 70 down to 50 from Earnsburn Falls to the helicopter pad, as I mentioned in my last council report. And this, of course, is done for safety reasons in that area. Over the years, there have been several accidents there. And our focus is to try and develop that area more each year, so it's time to reduce the speed limit, and there is a lot of traffic that uses the Earnsburn boatway there, so just to be on the safe side, we think it was the right decision to do to reduce that speed limit. The Department of Transportation has purchased a new snowblower to be used on Route 480 this winter, which is a good thing. Snowblower, a new one certainly in case of any big amounts of snow on the road, and that was I think brought into Burgeo late December. Council has decided to reopen the street called Iscox Lane as a two-way street, and as you're aware, some time ago that was a two-way street, and then it was made into a one-way street. We know it's not the widest street in town, but to alleviate some of the safety concerns, there is a launchway there for boats to enter the water and be taken out. And when you're talking about a vehicle with a trailer in tow, you're certainly talking about 40, 45 feet in length, and it's better for that person to just come on up straight instead of having to go over towards George Ertz or up towards the RCMP building, where they got to come a long ways out on the road before they can get a good visibility there. So we decided to remove the signs and make it into a two-way. So just want to bring you up to date on that, if you're, especially if you're putting boats in the water or taking them out. Dog tags has arrived for 2011. You can purchase your dog tag at the town office. The price is the same as last year. So if you got a dog, then certainly you purchase a tag and put around your dog's neck, collar. The playground, again, I just want to mention where there's going to be some improvements if this project is approved. And also the playground will be given a name. It will be called the Sergeant Von Ingram Memorial Playground. Council have decided to do that. And we certainly, in honor of our fallen soldier, the young man from our community, and we feel it's very appropriate to have something in honor of him. The budget 2011, we presented a balanced budget that I released to you early January. We sent that budget into the government. It was a balanced budget with no tax increase, and it is being approved by the Department of Municipal Affairs. The town also received a year-end report from our Burgeo Heritage and Museum Committee, Chair Ms. June Iscock, And I got to say, on reading that report, they've got involved with a lot of activities in the community over 2010, and we certainly appreciate what they've done and certainly encourage them to do more if possible. We know that volunteers sometimes is hard to get, and but the work they did there with the local talent shows, or singing along out to the museum, and they've been involved with Sand and Sea, and been involved with the Hunts Day program, and a lot of other things in the community that I'm not going to mention right now, but you know, according to the report, they've been very busy, and I certainly appreciate what June and her committee have done in terms of promoting the heritage of the community, and the museum, of course. A lot of artifacts in the museum, where I think the attendance there from tourism was high again this year, and it's good to see this stuff happening in our community. So I want to commend them and encourage them to continue on. The other thing I want to do is just mention here that while our snow plow operators is out plowing on the slushy roads sometimes, if you're parked, especially at the foot of a hill, when that plow is coming down the hill, it would be for the best interest of both parties, the plow operator and the driver of the vehicle, to keep their distance, because if one of those plows happens to slip coming down those hills, they certainly can't stop on a dime. So just want to make the public aware that if you see a plow and it's coming down a hill, just keep your distance until she gets down. And it's certainly a concern that our plow operators have, and we have as well. Tourism Committee. The council is still looking for volunteers to sit on the Tourism Committee. So I asked you in 2011 if you got some spare time, which you might want to volunteer, just sit on the Tourism Committee, and I'm sure you'll feel better for doing that. Just take part in your community, and it's all a worthwhile cause. The Building Committee approved at our last meeting a permit for an individual to construct a 5 by 19.5 foot extension to a shed. And also at our last meeting on January the 19th, there were 17 items of correspondence dealt with. Hockeyville, your rec commission, as you're aware by now, has been trying to get Hockeyville, was nominated for Hockeyville this year, and we certainly ask for your support again and trying to do your part in getting Hockeyville to Burgeo. And I guess you can do that by writing letters, sending off old photographs, or if and when the time comes, there's voting takes place, then get involved with that. Show your support for your community, and we certainly would like to have Hockeyville come to our community this year. So let's all do our part and see what we can do in making that a reality. The Collar Health Care Center, as you're aware by now, that's been some time they've been short on a lab technician in the hospital. Well, I want to make you aware that that position has been posted. It's been posted on a provincial level and on a national level, and I think as I speak there's still no recruits to be found, but they're still continuing to advertise, and hopefully someone will come forward and take that position in the near future, because it's certainly something that is needed in this community. And I also encourage any young ones that might be graduating to take that lab technician course, and I think probably you won't have a problem to get a job in the future. Girl Guides. The green space for the Girl Guides was put back on the agenda again, so come spring now, we will certainly do a spot for our Girl Guides to plant some little trees and flowers, and I think it'll certainly look nice and help beautify the community. And I want to say at this particular time, congratulations are in order for our Burgeo figure skaters who went to Stephenville a week ago. I want to say a job well done to those girls. I think one of them won the silver medal. But keep up the good work, girls, and I'm sure someday you'll win the gold. Congratulations once again. An awards night that took place at Burgeo Academy on December the 21st. I attended that, and certainly I want to congratulate the students at Burgeo Academy. Great marks, high marks, and there's some smart kids in that school, and I want to commend them all because they're all winners, and keep up the good work. Invoices were paid at our last meeting in the amount of $41,727.93. And a little did you know, in 1961 to 1965, Max Carrier was the mayor of Burgeo from 1961 to 1963. And Mr. Percy Stones was mayor from 1963 to 1964. Spencer Lake was mayor from 1964 to 1965. Deputy Mayor Rupert Strickland was deputy mayor from 1961 to 1963. Simeon Spencer was a councillor. William Hare was a councillor from 1961 to 1964. Charles Hannison was a councillor from 1961 to 1963. Charles Blagland was a councillor from 1961 to 1962. And Henry Hantney was a councillor from 1962 to 1964. Peter Kendall was a councillor from 1962 to 1963. Robert Strickland was also a councillor from 1963 to 1965. And Dr. Michael Collar was a councillor from 1964 to 1965. And Edward C. Sears was a councillor from 1964 to 1965. And at that time, Artley Kendall was town clerk. That's a little history of your community. On to the next time. Be safe, good night, and may God bless.
BBS President George Reed came by the studio to give us a BBS update. In our studios tonight, I have with me the BBS President, George Reed. Good evening, George.
Good evening, Maxine.
Welcome to the studio again.
Thanks.
Some people still don't understand the makeup of BBS. George, you want to explain that to us, please?
Okay, I'll try. I'll go back a long time now. I guess I'll start from the beginning, and the older people in the community will remember it, I'm sure, and probably some of them remember it better than I can recall it or what I got written down there. The concept of BBS came about through Loy Walters. Loy Walters had the knowledge at the time when they put the satellite up there for TV signals to come off the satellite, and CRTC was giving out licenses for companies to broadcast TV in all those local areas, smaller areas, and that before it was basically CBC and CTV.
Yes.
And so when they issued a moment of licenses, Lloyd had the inside story on it. So he applied and got a license for this area, actually, Burgeo and Ramy and Graver and Franceway and all that. Uh-huh. And he decided to make it into a community project, okay, rather than taking it as a personal thing. He had other responsibilities at the time that he didn't want to take it as a personal thing. So he said he would organize it for give good TV for Burgeo, yes, for people of Burgeo. So in May of 1981, Lloyd and I and Claude Strickland had a meeting. I think it was up over in the old motel, Southwest Drain, I guess it was called.
Okay, yes, yeah.
And that's when the company basically got formed, the concept that we would form this group. Now, it grew kind of haphazardly because neither one of us knew exactly what we wanted to do, except we wanted to give better television, because at that point in time, television in Virgil was not very good.
No.
It really wasn't. And so we just really wanted to improve the television. So our mandate was to give better television to Virgil. So we formed a company, and for lack of a better word, we said we were selling shares, but it was not selling shares as people now understand it, like buying a share in Ford Motors or General Motors or something like that. In fact, it was just it was trying to get the people to partake in this company. In other words, to invest into it in order to buy equipment, because I mean, none of us had the money to do it, and of course it cost a lot, a fair number of dollars in order to get this thing going. So we asked the people, if you want television, better television, this is what you're going to have to invest. I think we started off first. We invested $150, and then of course that went to. We had to buy more equipment and that, so it went to $250. And after a while, the number of people who wanted to invest the $250, we reached kind of a max on that. Then we said, well, can we encourage more people in? So we said, okay, well, let's charge them $25 a month rather than the $250 up front.
Yes,
On the beginning, the $250 was right up front. And so we said, well, we'll still charge them $250, but $25 per month. Now, that went on, that was in 1984. In 1991, we were getting so many people saying, okay, I want to be hooked up. And we said, okay, you got to pay $250, but you can pay the $25 a month. And what happened, of course, a lot of people, they spent 3 and 4 months, 5 or 6 months, 7 or 8 months, a year, and then they were gone. And of course, when they left, they wouldn't pay, they weren't going to pay anymore because they were gone. And we were then showing a lot of money to be collected. In other words, accounts receivable was pretty high. And our accountant advised us that, this is getting out of hand because this is money that you're not going to get. So really it was doubtful accounts, or, you just weren't going to get them. So then the board of directors made a decision that, well, it looked like we were operating pretty well. We were staying afloat. So we said, let's cut out this $250 investment and let's charge a $50 hookup fee.
Okay.
And so then everybody who got hooked up after that had to pay a $50 hookup fee. So that was the initial beginning of the company, and where we got the money from in order to start the company.
Okay.
And of course, it's a non-profit company, so it just simply means, of course, we're allowed to make a certain profit, but stay within a certain guidelines that governs companies like that. And it also means, of course, you have to invest back into your company and that stuff. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Would you give us an update on the internet now, please?
Okay, well, that's another long story. The internet started back in 2000. BBS was started, like I just finished telling you, for the purpose of improving television in Virgil. Now, back in 2000, our cable around the town that we had put in was starting to get dilapidated, the TV cable. So we wanted to upgrade the cable. So we went to COVA, the federal government, and we tried to get a loan for, not a loan, a grant. Of course, grants you don't have to repay them, right?
Yes.
So tried to get a grant to upgrade our cable system. And sure enough, we ended up, after a lot of work involved, and that committee was headed by Barb Barter at the time, and through a lot of work on her behalf and other people on the committee, that We ended up getting $651,000 from a car to upgrade our cable system.
Okay.
Now, we had no intention of doing internet. Again, internet was a new concept,
Yes.
you know, for us here to getting involved in. But the people in charge of ACOA, the guys who were in charge of giving us the grant, they kind of put in one of the stipulations that they wanted us to try to supply internet for Burgeo, Ramia, Grey River, Franceway, and Grand Britain. So they said, you know, with this money that we're giving you to upgrade your television cable system, that would you also consider putting in internet into these communities? Well, of course, being naive as it was like we said, yeah, you know, we'll give that a try too.
Mm-hmm.
But well, we took on a fair load at that point in time, because we, I guess it was in 2000 and 2001, I think, that we kind of started and got it going over. Our initial concept was to take it from the satellite, but that proved out to be too expensive once we got the fine print back.
Okay.
So then we went with wireless.
Okay.
And I suppose, to put it plainly, we started off with not enough money.
Okay.
You know, even though 651,000 was a lot of money, but by the time we got all the cable done in Burgeo and that, most of the money was spent. And so therefore, we've been working on a shoestring ever since, trying to put in equipment to run this internet right from Grey River to, or right from Franceway to Roseblanche.
Okay.
If we had lots of money, like to buy radios that was worth, say, $100,000 a set or something like that, or buy radios that was equivalent to Alliance radios, then of course we would have been able to done a better job in relationship to reliability. We were using radios that were, I considered them to be right on the bottom scale of workability.
Okay.
And we were pushing the limits of these radios, going from Burgeo to Grand Britain to Roseblanche. That's where we've had the most trouble. Ramia to Burgeo, we have had very, very little trouble with the wireless in there.
Okay.
The trouble been on that end of it. And of course, you know, we were using every bit of money that we were making in the company, but we still couldn't buy the type of radios that we wanted to buy. We had to settle with not second best, but probably third, fourth, fifth best, you know, in relationship to value of radios. Now, the fiber optic came to Burgeo in 2007 when they came ashore over on Smalls Island there. We tried to hook in, we asked them about that. And of course, at that point in time, they told us, no, we will not be ready until 2012 to hook into it. So that's fine. And then, of course, every year we would, you know, somewhere along the line, we would make contact with them again and say, okay, you know, have you progressed any further with this? And the answer was always the same, nope. I think beginning of last year, when we asked them about it, they said, look, if you give us $1 million, we probably will get it to you in 6 months. And then lo and behold, in November, we contacted them again in November, and they said, yep, we can hook you up to the fiber optic in about 4 months if you give us if we can get a signed contract for 5 years. And a signed contract simply meant basically it's got to deal with money, and the fiber, they sold us the fiber 30 megs for $6,000 for 30 megs. And for every increment of 5 megs, it would cost $875, I think it is. At the time, we were in Rose Blanche, and we're paying, I think it's $3,000 for 30 megs. So it was double. So we had an emergency meeting of the board and put it to the board, and everybody agreed that this is the way we should go, get hooked up to the fiber, basically regardless of the cost, to a point.
Okay.
So the decision made. So we got back to them, and when we got back to them, they says, "No, we can give you that, say at least within 2 to 3 months." They send this contract in, we signed it, send it back out. I think within 3 days they were out there and ran the war. And then they said, well, it'll take you about a month to get hooked up. And lo and behold, they were in here this week. And so we got hooked up to the fiber on Wednesday night. I think Dave was here till 2 a.m. in the morning, I think, on Thursday before he got it got finally hooked up. So right now we're hooked up to the fiber in Virgil. So what that's done, of course, is taken out the weak link between Virgil and Rose Blanche. It's got that weak link taken out. And I just hope that we're going to get reliability.
Yes.
So, and reliability now, so after, I would assume that after this, what we basically got to concentrate on is probably getting more speed. Of course, in order to get more speed, you have to have more bandwidth.
Yes.
And like I just said, each increment of 5,000, or each increment of 5 megs will cost $875.
Okay.
So I guess that's the future job for the board, is to monitor the money and improve the internet in relationship to speed-wise as time goes on. And that'll be a little bit of a challenge, but it's a good challenge because right now, if you got stability and reliability, now you can make it grow. Now you can make your internet better and better and better. And I hope at the end of a year or so, we'll probably have, hopefully, as good internet as we got in television. We really do. And so I guess that's the future of it. But now we do have, I hate saying it, we do have almost like a guarantee, but that fiber runs down along by the coast out there, and if that cracks or breaks, then we could be down for a month at a time, or 2 months at a time, and I guess that's the risk we're going to have to take.
Yes.
But right now, I think the next 2 months, we're going to run the dual system. We'll run the wireless, the Grand Brit, the Rose Blanche, and we'll also, and we're hooked up to the fiber. I think they told us that within a month they'll have 2 connections. Right now we just got 1 connection between Virgil and Port aux Basques, and within a month they're going to have another connection between Virgil and St. John's.
Okay.
So if one gives out, the other one will kick in. So
Okay.
there's going to be that
backup.
There's going to be that backup there. So I guess at least I suppose you can put some hope in that. We'll rely on that. Yeah. Yeah. Let me see. I don't know if there's any anything else I got to tell you on that. Let's check my notes there. But this suddenness of getting it done so fast is I got no answer. I cannot explain to the people why. They're not explaining to me why all of a sudden it happened so fast. Because we also got on to Roger Cable, and we asked them about it, and they were looking at something like, equipment-wise, they would have to buy something like $700,000 to $1 million worth of equipment in order to do what we wanted done. So I guess these guys must have the equipment already installed for some other reason. You know? Yep.
Okay. George, BBS as an overall, what benefits are we getting from BBS?
Well, that's a good question, you know. I mean, it's, I tried to explain the history of BBS there in the beginning, and I would just simply say that the benefits are that I think we've had the best television for the cheapest price. And of course, when something is occurring month after month, you don't really notice that, you know, if you're getting anything out of it. But for the television that you're getting, we pay, I think it's $24 tax in for our cable, and $36 tax in for if you got the movie count. Now, if you were anywhere in Newfoundland, I think except Ramy got the same system we got here. But if you were anywhere else in Newfoundland and on the mainland, and those people who live up there, been up there, and got people that are up there know, it's a matter of asking, and they already know, a lot of them do, that for the same television, you would probably be paying anywhere between $40 to $60. You know, so, and that's been the case all along.
Yes.
So I just did some, you know, little calculations, you know, and just simple math to tell you. About over the years that we've had it, you've been saving anywhere between $100 and $250 a year on the television, depending on where you would live. And if you translate that over the years that we've had BBS here, you probably save anywhere between $5,000 to $7,000 on your cable. Now, people don't realize that, but that is the case.
Yes.
Take a piece of pencil and a calculator and just run some numbers on it, and you'll find that you have saved about that much money on your TV system. Well, that's your saving for having BBS here in Burgeo, and it's the town owns it, and of course, if you go away, you can't take any bit of it with you.
No.
It's like living in Burgeo, and you're getting your water system, and you're getting whatever you're getting, and you can't take any of it away if you go away. You know, it stays here, and as long as you're here in Burgeo, and as long as BB is here, you're making a saving. And I guess the same thing will happen for the internet once we get it running now better and better as time goes on. We'll hopefully give a better, more reliable service, and hopefully the price won't go too high in relationship to other packages that you can get, because even now the competition that you got out there in relationship to internet, I think ExplorerNet, somebody was installing ExplorerNet just a week ago here, and I think that package is something like $40 odd, but you know how good that is in relationship. And if you want more than fine print is, you're going to pay more. If you want better. So even the internet at this point in time is still not a bad deal, not a bad price. And basically, I think it can only get better. So again, that'll be another benefit. So the customers are, you know, they're receiving benefit from BBS, whether they realize it or not. They are, and hopefully that explains a little bit of it. Now, I don't know if you want to ask me about the channels or not, but we're going to put on 4 more channels. The board of directors elected to put on 4 more channels at the last meeting. They will be put on pretty soon. You know, I'd say give or take another 2 or 3 weeks, you'll have 4 more new channels. Now, these 4 more new channels, if this was Rogers or Bill or any other company that you wanted, you know, you would have to, you know, pay for them, basically, you know, if you want a different package. Now, these 4 new channels are going to cost BBS probably $10,000 worth of equipment that you got to buy in order to put it on. The channels themselves, the 4 channels are Deja Vu. I think we had that phone in there or drop by the office to listen. I think we had 8 channels that people had requested. We took the 4 that was requested the most, and that's the one we're putting on. And one is called Deja Vu. Now that channel is going to cost BBS 28 cents every month for every customer. 28 cents. And the other one was Animal Planet. That's the other one's going on, and that's going to cost 17 cents per month per customer. And another one's called W World. I think that's Women's World. I think that's what it is. That costs us 33 cents a month. And Documentary, and that is 31 cents a month. So if you add all that up, you get $1.09. You put on your 14 cents of taxes, you get $1.28. You multiply that by 12, and that's $14.76 per month per subscriber.
Per subscriber, yeah.
That BBS is going to be paying for these 4 signals. So again, there's another benefit that the subscribers are getting because they got BBS, because they own BBS. And those people who got the movie channels, the 5 movie channels, they will be getting HBO Canada free.
Okay.
So, you know, so that's, I guess, we call it another benefit.
Yes.
Now, these 5 movie channels, if you had to buy them somewhere else, you certainly wouldn't get them all. Well, going to be 6 now. You certainly wouldn't get them for $12.
No.
You'd probably be up in the $30-odd bracket.
Yes.
Don't know, because I never checked it out.
No.
Now, we do have on right now, the board, at the same time that we hooked up the fiber optic, we also brought in a motion to increase the rate for the internet by $10.
Okay.
Now, that is not being implemented. It's there, ready to be implemented if we want it to be implemented. The reason why it hasn't been implemented, we're going to see what we can do with our money as in the next 2 or 3 months. In other words, if our balance stays pretty good, and we don't need it, if we don't need the $10, then we won't increase it.
Okay.
Now, if we need the $10, we'll just simply start it up some month in the future.
Yes, okay.
And the kind of thing is, people might want to say, well, you know, our speed is not fast enough yet. Now, of course, you'll get faster speeds if you got more bandwidth.
Yes.
And you uncap your radios. So perhaps the demand will be such that, well, you know, I want the speed to be faster. Right now we're going to have, I think it's 1 meg down and 256K up. If that's got to be increased, then more than likely we're going to have to buy more bandwidth. In other words, go from 30 megs to 40 megs to 50 megs, something like that. Now, if we need to do that, that might be one of the reasons why we'll increase the internet by $10 per month. Or we might find that we got a new employee coming on, going to work Monday, and with the extra expense of the fiber from buying it here in Birdsville rather than in Rose Blanche, we might be, you know, we might find that we'll have to implement the $10 anyhow. But at the moment, there is no increase. At the moment, there's no increase.
Okay. George, A lot of people have come by the office and asked me about a credit for the time it was down. Why have the board decided on that?
Board of directors decided no, you know, even when it was down, I mean, everybody suffered because of this. I mean, it was a pain for everybody.
Yes.
There's no mistake about it. You know, it was pain for everybody. But just hopefully that after hearing what I've said about BBS, hopefully that they realize it's their company. And basically, if you ask for a refund, it'd be like taking it out of your own pocket and paying yourself.
Okay.
Really, that's all about it. Because if you give out, I think I looked at it, and if you give everybody 1 month's credit, I think it's something like $18,000 it'll cost the company.
Okay.
I think it runs in that range. Well, if you did that, I mean, of course, you're automatically, your cash flow is out $18,000.
Yes.
So I got a feeling if that happened, you would have to implement this $10 right away, probably.
Yes. Okay.
So, you know, you give it to you in one hand, take back in the other,
Yes.
you know. So I think if you understand the nature of BBS, you can see, you know, basically you'll be, like I say, taking out your wallet and taking out your money and giving it to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And with the money, you know, besides what we had to do in order to get the fiber hooked up here, you know, the new costs on the fiber and that, and the new employee. I'll also show you where we just got 5 more channels, and the cost it take to implement these channels, and the ongoing monthly amount that we're going to have to pay on behalf of each one. Mm-hmm. In other words, in 2 months, you got your internet back. Once you get these 4 new channels, well, that would be 2 years. You would have back 14 something per year. So, you know, I suppose the answer could have, directors could have said yes. You know, give everybody a month's credit, but what have you done? You just taken $18,000 out of your own bank account, your own bank account. You know, it's not mine. You know, it's not the board of directors. It's everybody's.
Yes. Okay.
You know, so that's the reason we felt that, you know, and even when it was down, it wasn't really down. It was almost as good as dial-up. Even at its worst time, it was almost as good as dial-up, or as good as dial-up. I don't really know because I don't use much computer, but people were telling me, and you know, you run dial-up, you'll be paying $29.95 plus tax.
Yes.
So, but you know, I'm sure the board of directors would certainly like for the company to be making enough money that we could see. Yeah, we'll give you a year's free of internet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That type of thing. And the money's there. You never know. Perhaps one day in the future that might happen. Yeah. Because the company's not allowed to really make any profit.
No.
By its nature, you're really not allowed to make no big lot of money. You know, so really it's got to, you know, and every bit of money that we've made so far in this company is plowed back into the company. For example, I had a note that I was going to tell you. Yeah, the internet. I was going to tell you something else about the internet. I didn't tell you about the cadre, did I?
No.
No. Well, in 2007, I think it was. 2007, yeah. We BBS bought the cadre internet up in the Cadre Valley. It was owned by Sunset Wireless, I think it was Sunset Wireless, and BBS bought that, and Sunset Wireless got a grant from the federal government to put it there. So basically the same as a grant that we got to upgrade our cable. Now, they couldn't manage it very well. Basically that's what happened to it, and so they were willing to sell it. They sold us that company for $25,000. The asset on the book was $420,000. That was the value of their assets that they had. We got it for $25,000. You know, now it's part of BBS.
Yes.
So we're making a profit from that company. It goes into BBS to help to do what the things that we're doing here. You know, so I wanted to tell you that. I don't know if you want to ask me that or not, but anyway, I want to tell you. And the bottom line is that, like I said, when we started this in 1981, we had $0. The company's worth basically nothing. Last year, in 2010, the capital assets on the book was $1,284,509. That's the value of the capital assets that's on the book. That's the value of it in 2010. So you can see every cent that was made and that we got from grants and got from projects, and it's all been plowed back into the company.
Yes, for sure. You mentioned earlier too about Ramy, Grey River, and France Whiteley. How is this upgrade going to affect them, George?
Well, I think probably the simplest answer there is that we've taken out the weakest links in the internet system, and that is the link between Burgeo, Grand Brit, and Rosebanks.
Okay.
That's been the weakest link. We've taken that out. There's been very, very little trouble between Burgeo and Ramia, which is our next big customer, Ramia. Now Ramia will still come by wireless to Burgeo, but when it gets to Burgeo, it'll feed into the fiber optic here in Burgeo.
Okay.
And likewise for Franceway and Grey River, they'll come to Ramia to Burgeo and then into the fiber optic. So I think they're probably, they won't get as great a benefit as Burgeo, but not much difference. Won't be that much difference because that weak link has been taken out. Yeah.
Very good. You also mentioned something about hiring another employee. Could you explain why the company decided to do that?
Yes. Well, we feel that a lot of money that BBS has made over the years and have invested in order to bring up that what I've just told you about the capital assets of the company is money that we've made on projects outside.
Okay.
And I just made a note of it there because I wouldn't remember all this. And we were getting more and more requests to do things outside of the community. And Dave and Claude, of course, are only two people, and they've been very, very busy in Burgeo and Ramia and Grey River and Franceway. And these people, they were hard to do, television and that. And then we brought in, and Dave was hard to do the internet, and both of the employees are doing television and internet. And of course, we found that if Alliant asked us, because we're in this area and going to Ramia and Franceway and Grey River from time to time, and stationed in Burgeo, would we take on the repairs of the phone, the phones and that. So we negotiated a deal with them to do that work.
Okay.
So right now, Claude and Dave are doing the telephone repairs in Burgeo, Ramia, Grey River, and Franceway, and we're being paid, of course, by Alliant to do it. And I say BBS is being paid. That goes into the coffers too. And for example, last year the projects that out of the telephone repairs last year, and the projects that they did outside of town last year, well, in 2009 we took in $67,532, and in 2010 we took in $59,059.
Okay.
Now that's money that these guys are bringing into BBS from projects outside the town or the telephone repairs and that. Now I'll give you some of the projects that are done, because a lot of people don't realize what projects that BBS done, where they've done. But BBS, they did the Millertown Mill down there in Duck Pond. Millertown, we put in the internet down there for them. We did Jackson's Harm, that's the power plant there in Jackson's Harm. We did the municipal buildings in Corner Brook.
Okay.
We did Grossmorn Park. If you go up in Grossmorn Park, the summer camping, if you got internet, well, BBS put in that internet. And we did the Toyota car company in Grand Falls, and right now they built a new building. They wants Dave and Claude to come in and redo the internet in there for them. We did Beaver Brook Mines in Hamilton. We did Elm Fisheries down in Benwell's Cove. We did Chaffee's Farms out in St. Davies. And we did the Humber Valley Resort in there, in Humber Valley. And we did the one up in Hope Brook. So, you know, the boys have been busy.
Yes.
They haven't had much slack time. So, and we found that we've had to turn down projects because they've been too busy to do it. Because first and foremost, the rule is that they have to take care of Burgeo.
Burgeo, yes.
The Burgeo television and the Burgeo internet. If there's any problems with that, they have to take care of that first. In other words, they cannot go to town, they cannot fix the telephone if they have work to do on the TV or internet in Burgeo.
Okay.
That's a given. That's the directive from the board of directors. So we found that we had a number of projects that we had to turn down that we could have made money on. So the board of directors decided to hire another employee, and that will give us the ability then to take on more projects.
Okay. Okay, well, very good. So, George, anything else now that you think needs to head there?
Probably just want to say one thing, that the board of directors, you know, is a volunteer group, and I want to quote, because there's rumors and misconceptions gets cooked up. People cook these up, I think, just for, I don't know, just for their own enjoyment or whatever it is. I really don't know why they cook up some of the stuff they talk about. But anyhow, and some of it you hear, you try to put to rest by explaining it. For example, the board of directors of BBS, they're elected every 2 years. They do not get any pay for it. They don't get any money for it.
Okay.
Section 28 in the Constitution states this: the directors of BBS shall receive no remuneration for the services rendered.
Okay.
All right? So nobody on the board gets a cent for their services.
Okay.
You know, for all the years that they've been had it, some only for a couple of weeks, some for years and years and years. And like I said, I've been here since '81. Nobody gets a cent for it. Nobody gets any pay. People keep saying, "Oh, you know, I heard some rumors. You fellas own that, don't you?" You know. Well, you know, no, I don't own it. Board of directors don't own it. You own it. You know, it's the towns.
Yes.
You know, and so there's the fact right there that, you know, so that hopefully quells all rumors about, you know, what anybody is getting out of this. You know, this is done voluntarily, and it's done for the sake of giving. You know, when I grew up, the television was, you know, I didn't see nothing till the 80s.
One channel.
Well, I didn't see anything till the 60s. I went to university and saw something, but, you know, it was basically back in the 80s before we got anything. You know, so the main purpose is to do what we've done now. In relationship to another rumor out there that, you know, BBS, if they weren't giving internet, somebody else would be in there. And, you know, and that's far from the truth, you know. I think I've explained already. You know, we really didn't want to do this to start with, you know, but $651,000 from the federal government with strings attached.
Yes.
You know, you got to try to do what you can in order to get that money, which we did. So really, there's nobody trying to get in here to give everybody the internet. You know, I don't think it would have happened. You know, I really don't. I don't think so. You know, I mean, Cod Dry Valley is a classic example. You know, right on Trans-Canada. There's nobody in there giving internet.
No.
BBS up there is giving. You know, the line came so far, and nobody else done the rest. So, and I don't think they would have been in virtual. Well, you'd had dial-up, you know,
Yes.
and you'd had satellite, you know, for sure you'd had that. I mean, let's face it. But I don't think there'd been any other company in there saying, we're going to give you in these little small towns, you know, internet other than dial-up. So, you know, and I suppose every 2 years there's an election of directors. You know, hopefully, you know, people come out now. Hopefully they'll understand it a little better, and hopefully they also do understand it. And the makeup of the company, well explained to people who don't. You know, especially people who don't hear me. You know, it's not listening to what I'm saying now. Whether I've explained it clear enough or not, I really don't know. But you know, I hope some people will understand it, and those who do, I hope they'll explain it to ones who don't.
Yes.
Because I don't know, there's been some stuff on that Facebook would make you cringe, you know. I mean, unfounded facts or whatever it is, you know. But nevertheless, I just hope, you know, I hope I clear some of the ears, you know.
Yes.
But other than that, you know, I guess we'll continue to give as good TV service as we possibly can, and make that the same slogan for the internet.
Okay. Well, very good. Well, thank you so much, George, for coming by and explaining this to us.
You're welcome.
This concludes our program for tonight. Thank you for watching. Good night.